Let's talk about NASs, which is not NAS, N-A-Z, NAS, NAS, network attached storage. So I'm making this video because I need to replace some storage at a customer site. And currently they have some pretty antiquated hardware, but to be honest, it's lasted a really long time, probably 8 years or so. And for most of that, I have to say that the reason why it's lasted so long is a couple of reasons. One is power. If you have a constant good power source coming in and you have that attached to an APC or a UPS battery so that the device doesn't have to take a lot of power ups and downs and spikes and possibly under voltage or over voltage, that's a large part of longevity with electronics. So I'm going to say one is power. Two is also because it's an older base system that's about 8 years old, we're going to be using hard drives that don't have huge capacities like they do now. Let's say 8 terabytes, 10 terabytes, 12 terabytes. I believe some of those Iron Wolves go up to 14. So I'm dealing with 2 terabyte hard drives. We're also dealing with lower spindle rotation, like 5400 RPM. So that also contributes to that factor, and obviously climate. Like, do you have it in a proper spot? Like, do you have it in a proper server room that's humidity controlled, temperature controlled, or do you just have it like under someone's, not on some? Well, yeah, if it's a tower, small tower, NAS or something, you could have it under someone's desk, getting knocked around to hell. But those three factors, so power, technology in the hard drives, climate, and also rate of use. So if the NAS is being used, let's say for HD video constantly, let's say you're in a production house, they're going to get a lot more use, and that's going to generate more heat, and heat equals bad. Well, too much heat equals bad, and therefore the life of the drives and of the enclosure lessens. All right, so just to recap, what are the reasons why some of the reasons why any computer or server or NAS fails is power, input, let's say dirty, high, too low, let's say climate, too hot in most places, too hot, humid, blah, blah, blah. 3, for hard drives, and specifically for HDs, spindle, RPM, like number, platters, etc. For usage, and rating. So yeah, power input, dirty power, over voltage, under voltage, climate, like it's too hot in the server room or it's under someone's desk, too humid. For hard drives, we're talking spindle RPM. The faster the hard drives will spin, the more heat that they will produce. That's an issue. Number of platters. Obviously, the more platters you have, the more the more platters you have, you're introducing more complexity, and more complexity is the opposite of simplicity, and simplicity will definitely last you longer. So you're going to want to take that in consideration with the hard drives you buy, what sizes, things like that, and usage rating. Like, are these being constantly used? Are they in a high production environment with video constantly being thrashed? Or is it just touch and go access to like a corporate file share or something like that? So that brings me to what my options are, and what I'm looking at. And this is just for so because for simplicity, Sorry, it's hard for me to type because I got shit in front of my keyboard. Simplicity, I'm thinking, okay, well, what do they have before? They had an appliance, okay, and that lasted them 8 years. Little issues. Mainly because all those things that I have talked about earlier apply. So I'm not going to get them the appliance they had back then, because that's just silly. Because I personally don't really like that brand of appliance. I don't really like storage offerings that they have. So I'm looking at Synology. Synology. What are the pros? Price. Oh, sorry, I should do this. Price. Ease of use. I don't know. Interface. Possible expandability. But that's sort of questionable because expandability can be many things, like number of slots. It could also be expansion. Expansion. Shelf. Something like shelf. So stuff like that. So the Synology, with the Synology I'm looking at here, I'm just going to move that over. So let's go over to the NAS selector here with Synology. Now, what I'd be looking at, and I've looked at some of the products here, I'd be looking at this guy here. I only really need a 4-bay NAS because of the size of hard drive capacity has gone way up. So I'm coming from 2 terabyte drives, and I'll most likely be choosing 4 to 8 terabyte drives because I want to keep that spindle. I want to go as small on the capacity as possible for a couple of reasons. So I'm looking at this RS818 and RS818RP. If we just dive into the specs here, so this is where the Synology looks good until you start looking at it. So you get, it says CPU, quad core CPU. You're like, oh, quad core, that's great. Memory, 2 gigabytes. I'm like, okay, up to 16. Like, okay, so when I'm looking at CPU, I'm like, okay, what CPU is that? Quad core, like ARM processors are quad core. So this is a little bit of marketing wank here to throw you off. Quad core, great. 2 gigs. Okay, so that tells me that comes with 2 gig standard, which is never going to happen. I don't care if this thing was just sitting there, hardly doing anything. I mean, I haven't bought any sort of production appliance that's going to have 2 gigs on board. And this read and write, sequential reading and writing performance, that's just marketing wank. These are all optimal situations with optimal drives and stuff like that. Up to 8 drives with expansion unit. So basically, it's not 8 drives, it's 4 drives. The unit itself is 4 drives. Up to 8, but not internal here, with the expansion unit. So basically, you're going to be spending some extra money there. Okay, optional 10 gig. So that basically tells me it doesn't have 10 gig. Yeah, and when the memory we've already talked about here. I think the difference between the 818 Plus and the 818 RP is the dual redundant power supplies. So that's definitely something I want. Okay, there's your 4 1 gig Ethernet interfaces. Yeah, okay, so here we go. BTRFS file system. Sure, not too bad. There are others in comparison that we could look at. And it's obviously everything ready because it's just a storage appliance. So it works with pretty much everything. One drawback of the Synology I don't like is this surveillance station, desktop backup, hyper backup, security, all-in-one server. I don't need these. I don't really need these additional things here. So I don't know if I should be paying. I don't need them, so it's going to come bundled anyway, so I'm going to get them, whether I like it or not. Probably won't be using them. So that's something else to consider. And then there's your back there, your ports in the back. It's interesting how these look like hot swap power supplies. So this must be the lower end version, because it would kind of suck if you couldn't hot swap the power supplies. Okay, so let's go into the full specs, and there you go. So right off the bat, your CPU is an Intel Atom. I know you're probably saying, oh, but it's just a NAS. Yeah, but it's an Atom. So depending on how much this unit cost, your value proposition for this could really go down. I get 2 gigs, so it looks like expandable up to 16 gigs, drive base 4 with expansion unit 8K. We've already gone through all this crapola. Let's look at the power. Very important. 100 watt power supply. Oh, that's not much at all. Okay, that's fine though. Low power consumption. I don't have anything against low power consumption. And for the RP model, you have 2 times 100 watt power supplies. So I guess when you take in consideration the Atom processor plus the 4 drive bays, 100 watts, sure, that should cover it. I'm not digging too much into the I/O performance because for what I need it for, it doesn't need to be crazy. Pretty much anything will work. So this is for Synology disk stations. Oh, no, this one here. RS818RP. So this is the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for this guy. Now, Amazon's are overinflated prices, but give us a good estimate. 17 plus 3, right? So that brings us 1700. Plus another $1,200 in hard drives. So 2,900. Plus I need the memory module, right? I need that memory module, which is this guy. $400. So that's $3,300 for one of the Synologies with 16 gigs of memory and 4 6TB drives. Now, again, this is for something that has an Atom processor, quad-core Atom. It has redundant power, so it's not bad, not bad, not bad. It's like 33, so 3,300, 16 gigabyte Atom. Oh man, Atom, redundant, 6 terabyte Iron Wolfie. So that's that price. I'm a big fan of freenas. So freenas. With freenas, we have a couple options. If you go to the freenas.org site, there are certified boxes. Let's see, this would be the one that I'd be looking at, which is a direct comparison to the Synology. And these are just all like, this is just by IX Systems, right? I guess. These are just all hardware is supported with FreeNAS and features are like blah, 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 blah. It's all just stuff, right? Now, the main difference between FreeNAS and something like a Synology is that it's going to support the ZFS file system if that floats your boat. But again, you also have to remember you have to buy supported hardware. Well, you'd want to buy supported hardware for a production environment with FreeNAS. The bad thing is that you have to request a quote, which is like sucks. I mean, you just, I don't know, man. These days, you really can't do that. Like, I don't know why they just don't have a base level price. Like, just give me the price of this thing without any drives. Just how much is the chassis itself with the 4 bays, blah, blah, blah. Like, you should be able just to give me that price online. When people don't give prices, it's kind of like, well, what does that mean? You just want to talk to me and like massage my, genital areas or something? Just give me the price. I don't have time to like send you guys an email and stuff like that. So that kind of pisses me off that they do that. I might send this in. I don't want to be honest. I really don't. It's just some other crapola that I don't need. Okay, now if we go over and we look at, let's say I wanted to build my own FreeNAS box, then I took a look at this guy. This is the Think System SR530 from Lenovo. And this has everything that we need, plus more. It's more of a real server. You can have up to 2 processors in there, much more memory, blah, 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 up to 8 drive bays, blah, 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 blah. I've already priced this out. It has the 2 1 gig Ethernet ports. It has 2 redundant power supplies, but you have to purchase the second one. See, 2 hot swap. It only comes with 1. So I've already done the pricing on this, and let me just show you guys. Okay, so the Lenovo, the specs on Lenovo are gonna blow it out of the water, but again, this is only for NAS. We don't really need this kind of horsepower. But we're just trying to see what the difference is. Actually, let me go here instead. So 2,500 for the server, and this is a Deca core. What is this? A Deca core? What is it? 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 No, it's a Xeon. Xeon 4110. Xeron. Ooh, Xeron. Okay, this is 16 GBs. Already comes with. Is another 360. Let's go back to plus 360 redundant power. Sorry, I have a lot of shit in front of my keyboard. So plus 360 plus 1,200 drives. So let's say for 900 bucks, you can have the Lenovo server. That is quite a bit more expensive. So that's a 30% increase to have the Lenovo server. So, you know, this is the argument. The argument is I don't really need a lot of horsepower for this. Unfortunately, with these rack servers, they only come in certain flavors unless you're going to customize and build your own. And I could look at doing that. It's just how much time do I want to invest doing that? So yeah, these are the options. And of course, with this one here, I'm going to say that this one will support FreeNAS with ZFS. So if that's important to you, then that could be a deal breaker or not. When you're looking at going with FreeNAS, you're also going to make sure you're going to go to the supported hardware and make sure that, I think the most important thing is that your disk controllers are supported. It seems to be, do I want ZFS? Do I trust the Synology appliance? That's, I think, my final questions here is, do I want ZFS? Do I want / need? I don't think I need it. So I think I would want it more. Anyways, this is just like a brain, like this whatever spew is coming out of my brain. I figured I'd do a quick video just to brainstorm to see what's going through my mind as I price this stuff. All right, let's cut it there. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to you guys later.